Over the course of many years, country music artist Luke Bryan has concealed a deep sense of loss beneath his contagious smile and confident stage demeanor. The side of Luke that is marked by profound personal tragedy is rarely seen by fans, despite the fact that he is known for his high-energy shows, distinctive charisma, and humor. But in a recent dramatic disclosure, the judge on American Idol finally opened up about one of the most traumatic chapters of his life: the devastating death of his beloved sister, Kelly Bryan, and the lingering questions that surrounding it for nearly 20 years. Kelly Bryan was the judge on American Idol. There is more to this story than just sadness. Love, resiliency, and the quiet fortitude of a man who converted terrible tragedy into music that cures millions of people are the themes that are explored in this work. A day that completely transformed everything. Luke Bryan was on the verge of becoming a famous musician in May of 2007. At the time, he had just started to create a name for himself in Nashville with his breakthrough single All My Friends Say, when unfortunately, tragedy struck his family once more. At the age of 39, his older sister, Kelly Bryan, departed tragically unexpectedly and for reasons that we do not fully understand. Besides being Luke's sister, Kelly was also his most ardent supporter and cheerleader. She was recognized for her brilliant smile, friendliness, and deep Southern hospitality. She was a dedicated wife and mother of 3 children for whom she was a mother. Without any prior warning, she passed away. She was at home with her little boy and husband, and it just happened, Luke recounted in a gloomy interview many years later. It was a random occurrence. Neither a reason nor an explanation could be found. It was reported to the family at the time that she had passed away due to unknown causes. There were no autopsies performed. After that, she vanished without a trace, leaving behind a gap that not even the passage of time could fill, as well as anguish and rumors. There were rumors going around about Kelly's death for many years. Some people hypothesized that there was a concealed sickness, while others believed that it was stress, an allergic reaction, or an uncommon condition that had not been discovered. Those who loved her the most were fueled by confusion, anguish, and even guilt because there were no answers to their questions. When Luke wanted to safeguard the privacy of his family, he would frequently avoid addressing it in public at any costs. He never, however, concealed the influence that it had on his life. He whispered, "Despite the passage of time, I can still recall that phone call as if it were yesterday." The entire universe came to a halt. When you lose someone so unexpectedly, and you don't know why, it's as if you're locked in this cycle of trying to make sense of something that will never make sense to you. And then, just 7 years later, another tragedy hit, which only served to compound that anguish. In addition, Kelly's husband, Ben Lee Cheshire, departed dead suddenly, leaving their 3 children without a parent. After a moment of hesitation, Luke and Caroline, his wife, decided to adopt the children and raise them as their own. A promise made by a brother. Luke's decision to take in Kelly's children was more than just a gesture of generosity. It was also a means for him to show his sister respect. According to what he said, she would have done the same for me. The home of the couple, which was already filled with the laughter of their 2 sons, evolved into a blended family that was filled with love and healing. Luke is frequently able to attribute his ability to move forward to Kelly's courage and determination. According to him, she is still with me every single day. Every time I walk on stage, every time I see her children smiling, I know that she is right there enjoying the show, she said. What is the truth exposed? There was a lack of clarity regarding the reason for Kelly's passing for close to 18 years. But in an honest chat that took place during a recent interview in the manner of a documentary, Luke finally revealed what the physicians had ultimately determined after conducting additional research. Kelly had been suffering from a heart disease that had not been recognized, and it was more than likely the reason of her abrupt cardiac arrest. In his explanation, he stated, "It is something that no one could have seen coming. No previous history of heart issues was found in her. She was robust and brimming with vitality, family with some amount of serenity. And the fact that being aware of what took place does not make the pain any less intense," Luke stated. "Nevertheless, it enables us to stop wondering. It provides us with a means of paying tribute to her without the ambiguity that has plagued us for such a long time, converting suffering into a function. In a manner that is classic Luke Bryan, he transformed his sorrow into art. Songs such as Drink a Beer, You'll Always Be My Sister, and Most People Are Good are reflective of a guy who has learned to live with loss, not by forgetting, but by remembering in a different way. His statement to People magazine was that music is therapy. There have been times when I've been on stage singing about loss, and I couldn't help but feel Kelly right there with me. As well, I am able to sense my brother Chris. In every single note, they are included. A vehicle tragedy had claimed the life of Luke Bryan's older brother, Chris Bryan, only a few days before Luke was scheduled to go to Nashville. This twin tragedy, in which he lost both of his siblings before the age of 40, had the potential to ruin him. On the contrary, it actually helped him become one of the most sympathetic and grounded stars in the country music industry. A family that loves each other despite the struggle. Since then, Luke and Caroline have gained a reputation as exemplary examples of resiliency. The three of them have worked together to create a family that is characterized by faith, support, and humor. Even though Kelly is not physically there, Caroline has stated on numerous occasions that her spirit keeps the family glued together. Their movies for the annual 12 Days of Pranksmas and the pleasant chaos of their farm life demonstrate to their audience that joy can still take up residence at the core of a family even when a loss has occurred. Luke has been quoted as saying, "If there is one thing that I can teach my children, it is that love does not end when someone dies. What you do is move it ahead." One that extends beyond music. Through Luke's efforts in philanthropy, Kelly's legacy will continue to be carried on, in addition to being carried on by her children. The Brett's Barn Initiative, which he named after his late niece, who was also the infant of Kelly's daughter and who unfortunately passed away, offers therapeutic services and emotional support to children who are afflicted with illnesses or impairments. The Bryan family has shown compassion for those they have lost by turning their suffering into a cause and starting a chain reaction of acts of kindness in their honor. We keep them alive with every smile and every hug, Luke added. That's how we keep them alive. One song at a time, healing the world. Today, Luke Bryan continues to top charts, headline tours, and bring fans to their feet. However, behind every lyric and every smile, it's a guy who has gracefully carried the weight of great grief from the beginning of his career to the present day. When asked how he manages to stay going after suffering such a loss, his response was straightforward yet profound. You simply love more intensely. You are not someone who takes things for granted. Mostly due to the fact that you never know when you will receive that final call, that final hug, or that final moment. Those comments, which were given by a guy who has experienced more pain than the majority of people, serve as a reminder that celebrity does not protect anyone from misfortune. Yet, love has the power to convert even the most difficult days into something important. There may have been some reopening of old wounds as a result of Luke Bryan's revelation on the true cause of death of his sister, but it also brought about the long-awaited clarity and closure. It demonstrated that sadness is not something that can be overcome. Rather, it is something that must be carried with care and incorporated into one's identity. With everything that has happened, Luke's narrative is a tribute to the power of perseverance. A brother's love that has never diminished, a family that has chosen to have hope, and a guy who sings not only for fame, but also for healing.